Hey Canucks fans, let's spitball some contract numbers, potential contract numbers for Brock Boeser, JT Miller, and Bo Horvat. I am Canuck Clay. This is my Canucks take all in one take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Wednesday, June the 8th. If you're new, here's what you should do. Hit the subscribe button now for daily Canucks insight that's positive, timely, and trustworthy. No live stream tonight, even though it's Wednesday, because I have a late hockey game, but I'll be streaming tomorrow night just after 10 o'clock, so I hope you join me tomorrow night. That's Thursday. Also, don't forget, at the end of this video, because it's Wednesday, I'll give my final bowling update. We had our final week of the season yesterday, and I'll do that at the end of today's video. And I want to give a special shout out to Jaden. Jaden, I've given him a shout out before, but I got to meet him yesterday. His mother works with the wife of a guy I bowl with, trying to follow that. But I had a nice chat with Jaden at the bowling alley yesterday. Wish I bowled better for him when he was watching me, but he can, like everyone else, can watch to the end to get my scores. But thanks, Jaden, for saying hello, and it was great meeting you. Okay, a lot of talk about Boeser, Miller, and Horvat. We know that after Bruce Boudreau, after his future was settled, at least a very short-term future, i.e. An extension for one more year, we knew the next piece of business that the Canucks got to take care of is indeed Brock Boeser. And by extension, you're going to want to look at Miller and Horvat at the same time. Boeser is a restricted free agent, so we have to deal with him this season. Miller and Horvat have one more year left on their deals, but you still want to start thinking about what you're going to do with them in their short-term future as well. Thomas Drance and Harm Dahl of The Athletic, they're doing a whole week of articles on these three guys, talking about aging and player comparables and contract comparables. And also Rick Dollywall gave an update today on Donnie and Dolly on his weekly chat with Jim Rutherford. So let's kind of take what I heard from and read and saw from both of those sources and form some informed opinions here. So again, the difference, Brock Boeser is an RFA, Miller and Horvat are UFAs. Let's start with Brock Boeser. Now, Brock Boeser, we know because he was grandfathered under the old rules, the qualifying offer, i.e. to retain the rights to at least have him for one more year and continue negotiating with him, it's equal to his final year of his salary, his contract, which was $7.5 million, so quite expensive. So that's where you have to start with Brock Boeser, because there's no point in him taking anything less than that. And if the Canucks do not qualify him, he becomes a UFA. So the Canucks are going to qualify him for sure, unless they come up with a deal with him prior to that qualifying offer deadline, which I believe is July 11th. So if nothing happens till July 11th, the Canucks will offer him a $7.5 million deal for 1 year, and Boeser likely will take it because his production last year didn't match $7.5 million. You could argue is more of a $5 or $6 million player at the most, but certainly didn't match $7.5 million. Kind of streaky up and down, decent season, but $7.5 million is a lot of money. It's almost 10% of your, or it's about 8 or 9% of your salary cap. So it might make sense for Boeser to take that qualifying offer, especially if he doesn't like the way the Canucks are negotiating with him, i.e. Trying to go a longer term, 3 or 4 years, maybe at 6 or 6.5. He might think he's a $7.5 million player, and he'll want a year to prove it, whether it's to the Canucks or to other teams across the NHL. So I don't think there's a lot to discuss here. I know Thomas Drance in his article talked about the fact that Patrick Laine is kind of a good example of taking a 1-year qualifying offer. Winnipeg and then Columbus. So that's something to keep an eye on for sure. And like with Boeser, Miller, and Horvat, Rutherford basically said that they're going to enter into conversations with all three of them over the next 1 or 2 months. You can't actually talk contract extension with Miller and Horvat until their final year of the contract actually kicks in, which is, I think, is July 1st. When it comes to JT Miller, Thomas Drance used the comparable, and we've heard this comparable a lot, of Zibanejad from the Rangers, and we see all the amazing things that he's doing in the playoffs. And Zibanejad, I believe, has an 8-year, $8.5 million contract. They also use comparables like Thomas Hertl, like Sean Couturier. So actually, Thomas Drance used Hertl and Couturier to compare both Miller and Horvat. So with Miller, looking at the fact that he was 99 points last season, that he moved to center, boosted those points, that he's been very consistent in the 3 years he's been with Vancouver, among the top 15 in points per game and forwards since moving to Vancouver. That adds all of it adds up to likely. Do you say he's the same as Zibanejad? So are you using 8.5 as a starting point? Do you think he's a tiny bit better than that? Or are you still going a bit higher, somewhere between 8.5 and 9? Or maybe a little less than that, 8 to 8.5? Regardless, if you're looking at a mid to long-term contract for JT Miller, the number is the Zibanejad number of 8.5 is a good comparable. So let's say Boeser 7.5 and then Miller is 8.5. That brings you to Bo Horvat. Now, in Thomas Trance's article, he also compared Horvat to Couturier to Hurdle, and Hurdle makes, I think, 8. Couturier makes 7.75. There's also, other guys like Braden Shen. I think he's at 6.5, and some guys in that wheelhouse between 6 and 6.5. Nugent Hopkins, I think, is somewhere in there. So those will maybe be on the lower end, considering Horvat makes 5.85 right now, or 5.83 or something like that, just under a shade under $6 million. And then the high end would be a Hurdle at 8 and the Couturier at 7.75. So maybe Thomas Drance says Horvat could be valued as high as an $8 million guy. I don't see it, but I certainly see him coming in at between 7.5, 7 to 7.5 as well. So you can see how these numbers are challenging. Again, Boeser's only for this season, whereas Miller is locked in at 5.25, Horvat's locked in at 5.8. So pretty good value for those two guys for one more season. But after that, you're going to have to see what happens. And the cap's going up, but it's not going up enough to bring all three of these guys back without making some fundamental changes to your team. So Canucks fans, my question to you is, presuming that the Canucks are acting in good faith and they want to sign all three guys, what do you think these contract extensions may look like? For me, I think it's Brock Boeser will do his 1-year qualifying offer at 7.5 and see what happens since then. A bit of a show me year. If the Canucks do sign JT Miller, it looks like it's going to have to be long-term at 8.5-ish. And then for Horvat, I think it could come around the $7 to $7.5 million range. So you can see those add up, 7.5, that's 15 plus 8.5. We're looking at $24 million between the three players. And does that make sense to you, Canucks fans? Let me know in the comments below if my numbers sound about right. I didn't really add anything new other than kind of looking at what Thomas Drance said and seeing how it makes sense. Maybe he was a little bit bullish on Horvat, but still, we're looking at $24 million between the three players. Let me know what you think in the comments below. What kind of contracts do you anticipate these guys getting? What would you like to sign them to? And your answer to those two questions may be slightly different. I want to give a shout out to my sponsors, Perform and Transform, Personal Training, Weight Loss, and Advanced City Experts Real Estate Group, Jason Lim and his team, the legendary Lucas Gates, legendary Justin Credible, legendary Andrew Chang, and Hall of Fame members Jens 95, Sim Alexander, Chris Seifert, Adam Broomfield, Shannon Hollingworth, HSM Fangirl Gaming, Smooth Groove, and Carol Bovenlander. Thank you for your support as always, and thanks to the support of all members, all levels. You're listed in my video descriptions. If you want to become a member of the CCC Crew, press the join button underneath this or my videos on the memberships tab on my YouTube channel. Quick bowling update. Last night was the playoff round, so we did not make the A side, so we were on the B side. And on the B side, so 8 teams make the A side, 8 teams make the A side, 10 teams make the B side. And of the B side, of the 10 teams, we came in 6th last night. It was just a one night only, no carryover, so just last night. So we came in 6th, so right in the middle of the B side, which is okay. I would have liked to do better. I bowled a horrible game of 131 to start, then 2 168s, and then a 202 to end off. So you average that out, it's basically averaged up to 166, which is basically my average. So I had one horrible game at the start, one good game at the end, and 2 average games in the middle. So I would like to do a little bit better, but overall, over the season, I raised my average by about 4 or 5 pins, and I'm very happy about that. So maybe I should set up a CCC bowling gathering over the summer, or maybe one of you guys wants to challenge me to bowling, and then if I think you're going to beat me, then I'll bring in Sean or Jacob instead. But if you made it this far in the video and you sat through all my bowling updates on Wednesday, I think for this word, for the word of the day, just type in the word strike. No, turkey. Let's go turkey. Because I did get a couple turkey, and I think I've used that word before, but you might be calling me a turkey, but I did get a turkey's 3 strikes in a row. I don't know why it's called turkey, but I did get 3 strikes in a row yesterday on a couple of occasions, especially my 202 game. So you've made it this far, and you've made it 10 minutes in. Type in the word turkey, Turkey, and then I know you made it to the end of this video. Okay, friends, subscribe if you'd like to. Like this video if you'd like to. Leave a tip or super thanks if you'd like to. Leave a comment down below if you'd like to. And especially, I messed it up. Become a member or upgrade if you'd like to. And certainly leave a comment down below if you'd like to. Predict some contract numbers for Brock Boeser, JT Miller, and Bo Horvat. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. God bless, and go Canucks go.